Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Nick O'Leary, and today we've got a user's guide on your Sat Nav. Now, because there are so many different shapes and models of Mercedes-Benz, some of the Sat Nav systems can vary. So this video today is on something called MBUX. And MBUX stands for Mercedes-Benz User Experience, and basically it's one of the more modern and sophisticated systems. And the way to identify it is have a look at the very bottom of your Navi screen. If it says where to, then there's a finish flag and then a mute button, then you know you've got MBUX. And MBUX also has that famous Hey Mercedes voice assistant as well. So with all that out of the way, let's have a look at some of the basics in a car with MBUX. So there guys, starting off with the basic controls, what we'll cover first is how to set a destination in Sat Nav, how to cancel it, and of course how to mute it, and then saving favourites and live traffic and updating and that sort of thing. So basic controls first. MBUX is actually very easy, and all you need to remember for the absolute basics are the first three buttons on the bottom row. So you've got where to, a little finish flag with a cross to finish, and then mute. So quite literally, it's as easy as start, stop, and then mute. Very easy. And of course it is touchscreen, so you can tap on the relevant buttons on here as well, but I'll make use of that and the touchpad in the middle to kind of control the screen. So starting off with the basics on where to go, basically all you do is tap on where to, and then you literally just type in a postcode of where you'd like to go. So just for argument's sake, let's put in the postcode of where I am right now. There we go, and it's found a match on the left hand side on the suggestions tab. So let's move the cursor over there, or you can of course tap the screen. That's in Poole, just up the road. And then it will show you on the map on the right hand side, and then there's a button just in the middle there with an arrow. Click that in and away you go.
Your route is being calculated.
And of course then it will navigate you to your destination. Now of course maybe you just want the visual element and don't want the sat nav talking to you. You can of course just press the mute buttons, so the volume button and the volume button here, they are both buttons as well, so you can just press the mute button. Or if you touch anywhere on the touchpad, or even just touch anywhere on the screen, there's a mute button just in the middle there. Click on that one and that will mute the sat nav. Click it again and it will unmute it.
Please proceed to the highlighted route and then immediately turn right.
And then of course when you're done, you can then press the finish button with the little finish flag there. So this sat nav very easy to use. You've got the start button there, finish button there, and mute button there. Now those final two buttons there are kind of more advanced settings. I'll touch on a couple of those in a minute. Now what about saving something as your home? Well, this is very easy. So if we go where to, for example, and type in a postcode like we just had done, instead of clicking on that big arrow, we're going to tap on the star. So at the very top there, you'll see there's a star. Of course, this arrow to obviously get the sat nav going. But if we go to the star, you'll see there's a couple of options here. So you can save this in previous destinations. You can save it as a favorite and give it a custom name, or you can save it as home or work. So if I set that as home, that's then stored in the inbuilt memory. And there's a couple of ways of accessing it. You can go into navigation, then go where to, and then go to favorites. Or my favorite way is actually utilizing the favorites menu. Now you can access this on the steering wheel. There's a little star here, and there's also a star down there in the middle as well. If you press this, this will bring up your favorites menu. Now I won't cover the favorites menu in complete detail here, but I have got a separate video on that, so click on the pop-up banner up above if you want to see that one. But you can move it around, hold your finger on that one, and then you can move or rename certain things. Now of course rename is greyed out on this one because I specifically set this one as home. So if you save it as just a normal favourite, you can give it a custom name, make it a bit more user friendly. Now those are the basic controls. What about some more advanced things? Maybe, for example, using voice control. Well, in MBUX there's a slightly more advanced voice control than previous Mercedes-Benz systems. So yes, there is a button on the steering wheel. You can nudge this button up and give commands. And, well, in MBUX you don't even need to do that. Hey Mercedes.
How can I help?
Navigate to BH152BD.
Here is what I found. Where do you want to go?
1.
I am calculating the route.
As easy as that. Now of course that voice assistant can do many things. So I've actually got my top 10 commands for the Hey Mercedes voice assistant. So if you click on the pop-up banner up above, that will take you to that one. But of course, yes, that Hey Mercedes voice assistant can be used for many things, such as navigating to your home or work, or typing in postcodes, even asking the weather in towns and things like that. So it's very sophisticated. Now, just before I move on to multi-stop destinations or intermediate destinations, I'd just like to cover something very quickly for EV owners. So with the Sat Nav, basically that does incorporate and it does show you where charge points are. So you'll notice if you have an EV, there's a separate symbol there on the top left-hand corner to search for charge points. And basically if you go on here, you'll see all these different charge points here, but you'll see on some particular ones, there's like a little kind of charge point symbol with a chevron. Basically those indicate Mercedes Me Charge compatible points. Now I won't run through that in this particular video. I have got a separate video on Mercedes Me Charge. Basically it makes your charging experience a lot easier and a lot easier to manage. But you can see there's a few here, there's another one there at Holiday Inn from the looks of it, and another one at Toby Carvery. So there's that's just where I am now, but there's loads in the UK that you can utilise, and even a dedicated website showing you where they all are. Now the Sat Nav can also incorporate charge points into your route as well. So if I type in somewhere that's you know, a fair old distance away, so if I type in Liverpool for example, this car looks like it's about 60% charged, so obviously it wouldn't make that journey. So let's type the Sat Nav in for there.
Your route is being calculated.
I'm just going to mute that as well. Now what this of course works with, it works with a thing called Mercedes Me. So obviously make sure your car's linked to your Mercedes account and everything's all activated. And what it will do is actually calculate a route, then it will do your live traffic, and then it will work out if you can make it there on one charge. And if you can't, which I know you won't be able to on this, it'll actually suggest certain points to stop along the way. So in a second we'll have a little pop-up on the top right hand corner there, so see it's got the finish time, and then it's going to show you where to stop. So if I expand on that, that's going to show you where to stop. You can see based on the car not fully charged, you just got to stop twice, so those little two green symbols there. Now I know that journey, if you are fully charged then you only need to stop once, but of course if you were going to do it you would make sure it was fully charged. But that just shows you a very, very quick example that the car can show you where to stop, and of course if that particular charge point is in use it will actually reroute and show you a different one as well. So that's enough of that, let's move on to the next section. And the next section is intermediate destinations, which are kind of multi-point stops. So basically if you put in your final destination first, so let's do the postcode here as the final destination, but then I'm going to go via, I don't know, the town centre in Poole for example. So if we go to where to, and then if I type in Poole, there's the town centre just there, and then just to confirm that one there. Now when you click the start button it will ask you if you want to start a new route guidance or set it as your intermediate destination, and basically that's just a stop along the way. So basically the way it works, you add your final destination first and then you add your stops. So if I type that in there, that will then reroute us, and you'll see on the top right hand corner there, stop 1, as in the town centre, arrive at 7:10, and then back here for 7:19. So quite clever how you can do that. And just in case you've made a mistake and put them the wrong way around, if you tap on the top right hand corner just there, this will show you the route overviews. You can see stop 1 just down there and then the finish up there, and of course you can click on them and actually move them around the other way around just in case, or even delete certain stops as well. So very, very flexible. But I'll cancel that off and then move on to the next one. Now MBUX by default does give you the fastest route possible, and of course if you have an EV like this one that I'm sat in now, this will give you the optimal route for charging as well. And you can change that if you want, so if you go into settings, then go to advanced, then on the top here go to route. In here you'll see electric intelligence, which is the thing that actually shows you the charge points and gives you the kind of best route to go based on your current charge level and the available charge points. But then you can go in here and even toggle between Mercedes Me charge points and minimal charge level, so you can really customize your experience as well. So they really thought that through. And then lastly guys are live traffic and map updates. So with most Mercedes-Benz, especially if they're new, you do get a free subscription to live traffic and map updates. Typically in the UK from new it's 3 years, but double check with your local Mercedes if you're not sure. But just say you wanted to renew it, say you've got I don't know, an A-Class or something like that from 2018 when it first came out. Of course you might want to update your maps or subscribe to live traffic. This is all done through Mercedes Me. So I won't run through Mercedes Me in complete depth in this video as it is a topic in itself. So if you want to know more about that, click on the pop-up banner up above. But in a nutshell, if you want to renew your live traffic or even renew the map updates, it's all part of the navigation package, and you quite simply just purchase it in the Mercedes Me store. You can choose between 12 months or 36 months, and it will basically download to the car. Just in case you haven't got your car linked to your Mercedes account, just get in touch with your local Mercedes dealership and they'll give you a hand and get it linked up. And there we go then guys, that concludes this week's video on the MBUX User's Guide on the Sat Nav. Now of course, if you have any suggestions for future videos, pop them in the comment section down below and I might just consider your suggestion. I'd like to give out a huge shout out to Sandown Mercedes-Benz, as they help provide access to all these awesome cars you see in the videos. So until next week guys, thank you so much for watching, see you then.